Hey, what's up, everybody? Jason here. Gonna do part 3 of our series of talks on the topic of exile and empire, and I'm calling this one The Gospel According to Satan. I want to do a little recap of what we've covered so far before we dive in. So we talked last time about the fact that all of us experience, both within the world and within ourselves, a kind of void, a lack. There's this nagging, deep-seated sense that something's not quite right. I've used Neo from The Matrix to illustrate this. This hacker guy, Keanu Reeves. If you've not seen The Matrix, you should see it. It's incredible. But he's this corporate drone who works in a cubicle in some office, but he's also this cyber terrorist hacker who goes by the name of Neo. And he's plagued by this just nagging sense that something is not right, and he's got this burdensome question that he desperately wants an answer to. And that question in the film is, what is the Matrix? In our case, the sense that we feel, this lack, this void, this sense of almost inner antagonism, ambiguity that we sense in the world and in ourselves, is something that nags at us. It's something that plagues us. Okay, and so that's kind of the major premise that we're starting from. And I mentioned last time that a lot of Christian thinkers, a lot of theologians do sort of give expression and pay attention to this idea of the void or the lack. But as I said last time, a lot of them see it purely in epistemological terms. In other words, epistemology refers to how we know, what we know, and how we know things. And so in the minds of a lot of people, yes, there's this void, yes, there is this lack, yes, there is this ambiguity, but it's purely on the level of knowing. And so the world is knowable. We just don't know everything there is to know about it yet. The world is explicable, we just haven't explained it yet. But given enough time and tech, we can break everything down to its constitutive parts and analyze them, and the whole is just the sum of the parts. Okay, so that is the case in the minds of a lot of people. What I argued for last time is that this void is deeper than that. This lack is deeper than just on the level of our knowing, on the level of epistemology, but rather this void and this lack, this ambiguity, this antagonism that we feel in the culture, in ourselves, is in fact ontological. Ontology refers to the study of being. It has to do with what we are. And so what I've argued is that this sense that we feel, like Neo, of something not quite being right, is actually woven into the fabric of reality, that it's part and parcel of the world as it is. It's inherent in the world, and it's inherent within us, okay? So that void is supposed to be there. And this, runs counter to everything in our culture. Everything in our culture desperately wants us to try to avoid the void, which was the topic of our last series of talks. Everything tells us to avoid it. Everything tells us to try to circumnavigate this. And there's a whole industry with countless books, countless podcasts, countless TV shows about here are the steps, here are the secrets, here are the 12 steps, the 5 secrets to avoiding the void. Here's how you can gain that sense of wholeness, completeness that you crave if you just follow these steps, right? In Christian terms, how many of us have listened to some sermon series called the 5 smooth stones to help slay the Goliaths in our life, right? So everything in the culture and inside of us in many ways wants to avoid that void, wants to somehow get around it and avoid it at all costs. And if you think about the American gospel message, it is essentially this. God wants you to feel whole. God wants you to feel complete. God wants you to not experience these traumatic difficulties and trials and struggles. He wants to fix your marital problems, your financial problems, your personal problems. And if you just, fill in the blank, get baptized, pray this prayer, ask Jesus to come live inside your heart, whatever it is, it's all tailored to help us avoid this void. It's all tailored to help us get around this impediment to our sense of wholeness and completeness that we desire. And if you think about it, this is a gospel of privilege, right? This idea, I mean, imagine explaining to people in the third world that our gospel is about how to actualize your inner potential and how to have financial freedom and all these sort of, American dream sort of propagandistic ideas that we have somehow supplanted the gospel with and think that this is what Jesus came to do, to make us rich, to make us healthy, to make us happy, right? This is a gospel of privilege that if you spend 2 seconds reading the New Testament, you'll discover has nothing to do with Jesus and nothing to do with what Jesus taught, okay?